Hey everyone, this is Srinivas here, and you are watching Tricks and Codes.
In the last video, we have seen about what is IoC and its implementation. We are excited to understand how this IoC works with Spring Framework and whatever things Spring Framework promises for us. So let's say you want to build an application. This can be any application. It can be a huge application or it can be a hello world application. For this, we have our own Java code with us. And then to make it work, Spring says it will create an object for the each class for how many classes we have. We are quite happy because we don't want to create the objects manually for each and every class. Now, let's say we have three classes in our project. Will Spring create object for all these three classes? Of course it will create. But what if we have 100 classes in our project? Will the Spring create object for all these classes? Of course it will. But do you require object for all the classes? No, right? Sometimes we only require object for only a few classes. Then how can we say to our Spring framework to just create an object for only those classes which we required? So it is basically using the bin configuration in the configuration.xml file. In fact, we have seen this in the last video as well. That means just because you are using the framework, you will not able to run the project in the first go. We have to do the configurations. Next part, you are running a web application. So when you want to run the web application, you must need a server. In terms of Spring framework, we want to have an Apache Tomcat server in our machine. That means even before you run the application, we must have the Apache Tomcat installed in our machine and needs to be configured in our project. Of course, it is only once we install the Tomcat and need to configure every time when we create a new project. This is also not a problem. But in the project, you may need to have some dependencies. Let's say we want to store the data in the database, or we want to send an email from our application, or securing the application. We must need to have the respective jar files to be configured in our project. Like we actually need to go to the browser each and every time when we require the new dependency and need to find our required jar file. This is also fine. We can do it if we are building an application for 6 months or 1 year. But what if you want to do an experiment? Like you want to start the project within few minutes. Is it possible? Yes, of course. So most of the languages nowadays have this feature. For example, in Python and JavaScript, they have their frameworks which can start within few minutes. So don't we have any such thing in Java? Of course we do have, and we call it as a Spring Boot. Again, Spring Boot is not a new framework or technology. It is actually an enhanced version of Spring Framework, where we can create the simple projects within few minutes. It says it will handle all the configurations of our project where we just need to work on writing our code. So why can't we try to build our project using Spring Boot? So let's try to build our project using Spring Boot now. Let's open the browser and search for Spring Initializer. Click on the first link and you can able to see this window. Okay, don't be confused what is this page. So till now we have been working on the Eclipse IDE and we can able to directly create our project from there itself. But from now we are moving to the different IDE called IntelliJ IDEA. So basically if you remember in the prerequisites video I have told you that IntelliJ IDEA has two versions. One is community version and the other is ultimate version which is paid. So in the ultimate version, we can able to create the project from the IDE itself. But in the community version, we don't have that future. So that's where we are creating the project using the Spring initializer. So you can directly go to the URL start.spring.io from the browser and create the project. Here we need to select the language Java and also the project type to Maven, and also need to select the Spring Boot version. So here I am selecting the standard version of the Spring Boot to work the project without any issues. Here in the metadata under group ID, we basically mention the domain name of the company in the reverse order. Let's say our URL might be tnc.com. So we can change this to com.tnc and artifact ID as demo app. And here we need to select the Java version. I am selecting the Java version as 17 only. And at the above, we can see packaging, right? And we are seeing two options to select. One is jar and the other is OR. So whenever we create a web app, we usually need to deploy it in a server, right? So basically we will convert that web application into a WAR file. WAR stands for Web Archive. So it will go and deploy in the Tomcat server. It is multiple steps, right? But Spring Boot says, don't worry. You can create the jar file, which is Java archive. But the problem is we cannot run the jar file in the Tomcat server, right? Then how it works? What if we don't need external Tomcat? What if the Spring provides you an inbuilt Tomcat server in your project? That will be awesome, right? So Spring Boot provides the inbuilt Tomcat server to us. So that's where we can select the jar file as our packaging. Now it's come to the main part on adding dependencies. So to add the dependencies, we click on add dependency button over here. And since we are planning to create the web app, let's search Spring Web. So yeah, as it is a demo app, let's go with this one dependency. And when I say dependency, it is actually configuring another project inside our project. Now we can download this project. But before that, I will show you how this look like. Click on the explore and it will give you this entire configuration, and we can able to see the Java version here and dependencies which we have selected. Also, there are few inbuilt dependencies and some inbuilt plugins. So yeah, now we can download this one by clicking download, or close this and click on generate to download this project. So now we will move to the downloads and we will extract it. Give a right click and click on extract all and extract. Now come to IntelliJ IDEA and then click on open, then navigate to project location. Select the project and click on OK. Click on trust project and I will select a new window. So if you see in the bottom, the project is being loading. It will take some time if you are doing it for the first time. So yeah, the project has loaded successfully. Now if you expand the external libraries, we can able to see the Spring Boot added so many dependencies. One of them is Tomcat, and also if you come down we can able to see the Spring Framework core, context and all the jar files which I have downloaded manually in the previous video. That's really great, right? That with a single click we got all the required dependencies inside our project. That's where the Spring Boot is so much quicker than Spring Framework. Now we will try to print hello world using this project. Don't be confused all these things which I am doing now. I will try to explain each and everything in the comment section. So I will just try to expand the src and then go to main and then Java and then give a right click and select new Java class, and I will name it as hello. Then I will create a method public string greet, and I am returning hello world. So to make it print, I will do some additional configurations here at the rate rest controller, and above the method at the rate request mapping. As I said, don't be confused with these things. We will see all these things in the next session. But now we will run it. To run this project, we will open the demo app application and give a right click and click on run. So you can get the output like this in our console. But if you see here, it is starting the demo app and then initiating the Tomcat server under port 8080. So to see the output, we need to open the browser and need to type http colon double slash localhost colon 8080. So we got the output here, right? Hello world. It has taken so much time as I was explaining this video, but if you are used to it, you can do it more faster. So yeah, we have built our application, but there are some drawbacks for the Spring Boot as well. If you come to the project, we can able to see there are so many dependencies which you may not use. But Spring Boot says take it and use it whenever you want. This is one of the drawback from the Spring Boot. So if you don't want the unnecessary dependencies, you can go with the Spring framework. But if you want to build a project in a faster way, I would recommend you to use this Spring Boot. So yeah, that's it for the video. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, please like this video, share with your friends, and do subscribe to this channel.